Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Just as the owners of the Kanji block flipped the license without doing any work, the owners of the Kaieteur block sold a large stake to ExxonMobil without doing what they committed to do under a contract. By signing on to the contract, the companies agreed that they would have the technical, managerial, and financial competence to carry out the exploration of the ultra-deepwater Kaieteur block. Ratio Energy, now known as Kaieteur, and which had received a 50% stake in the block, is directed by Guyanese Ryan Pereira and Canadian Mike Kaywood, who had no experience in oil and gas prior to receiving the block. As for Ratio Guyana, the holder of the remaining 50% stake, it has a parent company, Ratio Petroleum, which has experience in oil and gas. Despite not having the capacity to conduct ultra-deepwater drilling, Ratio Petroleum has been in the industry for decades. This company had no excuse for not doing work in the Kaieteur block, yet it is exactly what happened as it held on to the license for 2 years following receipt on April 28, 2015. In other news, even though the PPPC has given a commitment to modernize the legal framework for the oil industry, the IDB has pointed to some troubling areas of disharmony in the local laws, which underscore the need for the government to act swiftly. The IDB explained that the areas of legal conflict exist between the EPA Act and regulations and the Petroleum Exploration and Production Act. The bank noted that there is a significant conflict when one turns to the environmental standards set out by the petroleum laws for the issuance of the petroleum prospecting and production licenses. Taking this into account, the bank said it is crucial that Guyana addresses, as soon as possible, the disharmony between those standards under these two acts, as it believes that they are potentially disastrous for Guyana, particularly if an oil spill were to occur. And moving on, a senior official of the now shuttered National Anti-Narcotic Agency was taken off a flight to the United States of America for alleged fraud. Refused permission to leave Guyana over the weekend was Leon Carr, the former deputy director of the agency. According to officials, Carr and the woman, Candace Van Kay, were both set to leave Guyana for the U.S. on board an Eastern Airways flight. However, it appears that GRA had blacklisted Carr from leaving over unpaid taxes. Carr was also said to be principal of OPSEC International Guyana Inc., a private security company that works for mining companies like Rusal Bauxite Company of Guyana. And moving on, members of the M&CC are mulling the issue of hiring new town clerk and several other administrative staffers. So far, councillors have expressed a divided opinion on the matter, which was raised during a statutory meeting held at City Hall yesterday. Councillors raised concerns over a motion to vote on the Local Government Commission decision not to approve a list of potential staffers for the M&CC. According to its letter, which was read to the council by acting town clerk Sherry Jarrick, the LGC had deliberated but not approved the appointment of a number of persons for several key positions within the council. Let's tell you now that a farmer was on Monday committed to stand trial in the High Court for the murder of a handyman that was killed last month, allegedly over the sale of a construction net. The accused, 51-year-old Richard Martin, a farmer of Block 22 Wismar Linden, was on trial in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan. On Monday, the magistrate ruled that there is sufficient evidence against Martin for him to stand trial in the High Court for the murder of 52-year-old Ovid Chester. Let's tell you now that 2 weeks after a 16-year-old Alboystown teen collapsed on the kitchen floor of a stranger's house after he was allegedly brutally beaten and stabbed by 3 other teenagers, 2 of the murder suspects have since been remanded to prison for the offense, while the police are still to apprehend the 3rd suspect. The teen, Jumal Park, of Non-Parel Street, Alboystown, was killed just after 10 hours on October 13, 2020, at Front Road West, Rheinveld. On October 16, 2020, McKinnon de Flormonte, 20-year-old, was also known as Meko, of the Penningtons, Georgetown, and 18-year-old Rayon James appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Senior Magistrate Clive Nurse, where the capital offense of murder was read to them. In other news, Chinese contractor China Harbor Engineering Company yesterday revealed that the Chedi-Jagan International Airport expansion project was 97% completed back in 2019. In direct response to criticisms that they failed to submit the revised work plan as demanded by Public Works Minister Wan Edgil, the company was given the deadline back in August after President Ali paid a visit to the country's main port to examine the scope of works done. But months after, the contractor has still not submitted the work plan. And that brings us to the end of this evening's newscast. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening. Coming up next is the National Outlook with GHK Lal.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Digital is not a buzzword, it is a culture. At Digicel, we've made it our mission to enrich your digital lives. That's why we're bringing together more of all the experiences you love. The best and widest variety of music, podcast and local radio, cloud storage, messaging and more. Welcome to Digital at Digicel. Digicel, better together.
Good morning, good day, good evening, my fellow guidees, wherever you may be, whatever time of the day it is that you are accessing this and listening to it. Thank you for listening. GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Today on the National Outlook, as we thank you for joining us, the troubling. And we're doing this early, so we do not know how this will unfold as the days go by. But there it is that a man with a toy gun, supposedly, storms the Chief Justice's premises, her home. The sacred sanctuary of our home, of the Chief Justice of Guyana's home, is invaded. Now, there are some things here that I hope may turn out to be what is responsible for this. First, it has happened, so we can't erase that. But I'm hoping, and I don't know how strong the reality behind this hope is going to turn out to be, is that it was a madman, one of those guys on the street. It's random, it's accidental. It wasn't premeditated, it wasn't prearranged. So I'm hoping it's a madman. I'm also hoping it's some addict, as dangerous as that may have been to the security guards there, or the Chief Justice herself and her family. I'm hoping it's an addict. So in other words, where I'm going with a madman and an addict is that someone who just, with whatever haze is in his head and whatever is responsible, took it upon himself to go to this home and to invade it, to intrude upon its sanctity. An ordinary home, you and me, you and I, that's a problem. But the Chief Justice's home, I'm like, well, why? How come? How come now? Not going to go farther than that. But it certainly raises some thoughts in my head. Notice I didn't say suspicions or speculations. But it stirs some thoughts in my head. And this is where I'm going. The Chief Justice's residence, from what I can figure out, has a fence. It doesn't tell me that the gate was opened and this guy slithered through there. It tells us that he came in. I think he opened the gate or he jumped the fence. That was not very clear. But he's inside the yard and he's literally attacking one of the guards present. There are two of them, but one just happened to have gone to the washroom. He throws a punch. Thankfully for her, he misses, but she's able to raise an alarm. And the other guard comes and the guy points what was thought of to be a gun. So the first thing you do is take protective action, evasive action, whilst looking to confront the situation at the same time. And that's what the second guard did. And now the guy scales the fence and disappears. So here, I think he's been arrested. So here's the story. We've got fence. It didn't stand up. It didn't prevent him from coming in. We've got cameras, and it appears as though those cameras are from next door, from a neighbor. It's not from the Chief Justice's residence. But you've got physical presence, a visible physical presence in the form of one guard or two guards. That's got to be known. They just didn't start there yesterday or the same day. That's a constant rotation. That's a constant presence. So for this fella, whoever he is, to turn up there and decide that he's going to intrude there leaves some questions. Could he have been so far gone that he doesn't care? It doesn't matter to him. He doesn't know what he's doing. And if the Chief Justice's residence, with all those preventions, all those protective layers, fence and security, visible security presence, is not a deterrent, then what is? What is it for me and you? What is it for us, the regular citizens? What is there? I am glad that the Guyana Police Force has been able to locate someone promptly and have them in custody currently. As to where this will go and what will be behind it, we don't know. This guy, the furthest that I will venture today is this. This guy acted on his own, took matters into his own hands, and it was just the luck of the draw that it was the Chief Justice's home. Or were there other hands behind him? Those fingerprints in this country that remain concealed, and we have this fancy phrase we call them, intellectual authors. I withhold judgment. I'm glad that this Chief Justice is safe. I'm glad that the two officers on duty did their duty. They were diligent, and that they too are safe. I just hope that all of us will have the same confidence. We'll have the same confidence that we too will be safe. After all, that is democracy, that we can speak, we can debate to the issues, not to the personalities, to the issues that help us to grow, to help us to be better people, to help us to be a proud nation, taking our rightful place in the comity of nations before the whole world. Until the next time, GHK Lal on the National Outlook on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Thank you for joining us.
Hi guys, this is Susan Sachs and you're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. Hello. Join us every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. for The Beauty Guru.